Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We are just going to give it a couple of minutes and let some more people join before we get started. If you are able to turn your cameras on, please do so. Judy and I would love for this to be an interactive session. She's got a lot of great content to share with all of you today. In the meantime, if you also want to post in the chat where you are calling in from, we always love to know where our members are dialing in from. So please post in the chat. I will kick it off. I am calling in from sunny Miami today. Excellent. Thank you, Lisa. Deborah, excellent. All right, calling in from the Ukraine. We have people from all over the world here today. Excellent. Wow. Yes. All right. We are going to give it one more minute and we will get this event started. India, Maine, Birmingham, UK. Yeah, wow. This is Utah. Excellent. All right, for those of you who are just joining us, if you are able to turn on your cameras, please do so. We always like to make this a very interactive session. And just letting a couple more people in before we get started. All right. Excellent. Nice. Okay, we are 2 past the hour and we got a lot of great content. So I'm going to kick this off. I would like to officially welcome everybody to today's Forbes Business Council Leveraging LinkedIn event. Today's event is strategies to revitalize your LinkedIn network for business growth. If you have any questions, comments, concerns regarding your membership, please feel free to email us at concierge@forbes.com. For those of you who do not know the team, Angela Finocchiaro is our group events promotion coordinator, and my name is Anne-Marie Pasquino, and I am your virtual experience coordinator. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce you to your member leader. For those of you who do not know, Judy Hayes is the CEO of Judy Hayes Inc. Judy, thank you so much for putting this event together. I am looking forward to it. As usual, these are always great events and I get so much out of it. If you have not had the opportunity to register for your upcoming events or check out some of the past events, if you were unable to attend, please be sure to log on to Forbes Council and go under events. You can register for all upcoming events as well as access the recording for any past events. And I will post that in the chat. And thank you very much. And Judy, I will hand it over to you.
Wow. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. And I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation. And I use Canva to create the presentation in case anyone's curious. And here we go. All right. So we're going to talk today about what it means to nurture the people in your network, your professional network, and look for business opportunities in a non-salesy way. And so I also want to let you know, if you have any questions as we're going along, put them in the chat and Anne-Marie will put them out so I can stop and address them. I hope that you find some really good insights and at least one golden nugget in your existing network as a result of this workshop. So I'm having some fun with Adobe Firefly AI. So I asked it to create a picture of me. I wish I looked that good back then. But I started in my professional career, what I call the old school networking. I used to commute on a train into Manhattan, about an hour ride each way. And I was very young and working in a very dynamic ad agency. And so I would have Ad Age, Ad Week, all the trade rags that were out there. And I would be clipping articles. And some of you may find this kind of foreign, it's like clipping articles. And I would put them in an envelope and address them to people and send them. And that is how I started to build my professional network. It's how I made a reputation for myself as to being a resource and a connector. And to this day, I still, well, not everybody is with us, but it's been a really vital part. And so what I hope to impart is that LinkedIn is now a better way to accomplish this. And it's all about really taking people that you have connected with and finding a way that you can add value to your relationship. Now, this is my pup. We've been together 5 months now. He's 3 years old, and I'm having to teach him a lot of new tricks. And so it's really everybody is capable of learning a new way. So I may be telling you some things today or sharing some ways that I do things that are different. And so I encourage you to be open to this and to see what works for you. And how do you resist a face like that? Anyway, he gets away with a lot of trouble. So um, I was looking, I'm cleaning up my storage, and I found these shoeboxes of business cards. And it was almost like a metaphor to my LinkedIn network. Because I've gotten to a point now where there's so many that I really honestly only know about 10% of them. But can anyone relate? Does anyone have a collection of business cards? If you've gone to an event, a trade show, who the heck are these people? It's like, what am I doing with all these cards? Have you engaged with them? What have you? And he put yes in the chat if you have a box of business cards somewhere. I do like that they're tactical, tactile is the word, because I like to touch them and collect them. Thank you. I like the thumbs up there. But this is what a lot of people's LinkedIn network looks like. It's just a bunch of connections that have been collected. We connected and now I'm done. All right, moving on to the next one. So, and here's what has been interesting. LinkedIn did a survey a while back of professionals when they were talking about networking. And it was like more than a third said it's hard. It's really hard to stay in touch. But why? It's the time. I don't have time to stay in touch with people. It's just too much effort. Wow. Just think about that. There's an untapped potential there, right there within your network. Because an interesting stat is about 30% of your invitations on average will get accepted on LinkedIn. 30%. So 1 in 3 will get accepted. So if you've worked that hard to make a connection, wouldn't it make sense to continue that effort to stay in touch, right? Okay, so I have an interesting.
I put everybody in my life in the category of retreat. Some people are leaves. They come in your life. They're there for a moment. They're there for a minute. They're just there. They're gonna give you a little shade and whatever they need to. But when the seasons change or the winds blow too hard, they can't handle it. So they're out. You can't be mad at leaf people. Leaf people are who they are. Let them be leaf people. Don't be mad at them because they're a leaf. Then there are people who are branches who are a little bit stronger. You can rely on them to be there through seasons and everything. But if you step out there on them too far, they may break and leave you high and dry. So you don't know how much you can trust the branch until they've grown with you for a while. But then there are roots at the bottom of the tree. And if you find people who are like the roots, they're not trying to be seen. They don't need anybody to know they're there. They're just trying to give you what you need to hold you up. And a tree can have way many more leaves and branches than it have roots. So if you have a few roots in your life, you've done really well.
We want to find the roots in our network, the people that are really people that we have grown to care about and to help. And this is Tyler Perry, by the way, in case anyone didn't know that. I was just really moved by that. And I thought, it really does exemplify what it means to have a network. So we're going to sift through this. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that we need to go through to figure this out. I'm curious if you don't mind sharing this. If you would just put the number of the size of your network, how many connections do you have on LinkedIn? Just put it in the chat, please, because this is where we're going to look for that small amount of really high value connections. And we're going to also put up the first poll. This has always been an interesting question. You are able to download your LinkedIn database, and I'm just curious as to when you did it last. Water.
All right. Here you go, Judy. This is what it looks like.
Grab a screenshot there. Ooh, wow. So this is about right. Usually it's in the 70% that just haven't accessed that information. Wow. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So that's about what I expected. So let's talk about how do we re-engage the people that are there that we are connected to. Well, there's a couple of different ways. You know, I promised you, I think it was 9 ways. What is there, 10 here? You can send direct messages. You know, that means a message within the LinkedIn messaging system. If there's something, a birthday, or they have gotten a promotion or something like that, you can personalize and acknowledge that. You can express genuine interest in content that they're sharing by either reacting to a post. And I encourage you not to do the thumbs up. I always do the insight light bulb, or the clap, because from a weighted average, it has a little bit more of a score in the algorithm, so it boosts the post. You can put a comment there, something that is thoughtful. Job changes are really a fabulous opportunity. You can look at people's profiles, because they will get a notification that you've looked at their profile. Or you can look at who's looked at your profile and say, wow, I haven't, you know, somebody actually from my old neighborhood in Austin that I haven't seen in 15 years just recently looked at my profile. I'm re-engaged with her. You can endorse people for skills, or you could write them a recommendation. So these are just some basic engagement opportunities that are available to you. But here's the thing, this is very interesting. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 1/5 of your network on average have changed jobs in 2023. So when I was living in Austin, Texas, I lived there for a long time. I worked for the Chamber of Commerce, and I connected with all the member companies and the people at those companies. Okay, well, how many of those people are still at those companies 10 years later? It's very interesting to see the shift. And I didn't know so-and-so was now working at this company. And I've been trying to have a conversation with their, marketing team. Now I have a connection that actually works there that possibly could make that introduction if I ask nicely, maybe send chocolate. So here are some examples. When you are looking, and you're welcome to take a screenshot. This recording will be put in the Forbes library, but you're welcome to take a screenshot of that URL so you could see where this is and just bookmark it. Celebrations are when people change jobs, or if they have a milestone at their current company, or if it's their birthday. And so most people, I would speculate, out of the 167 comments, let's just say about 150 are just congrats. Does that add any value? No. You scan through, it's like all these congrats, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really mean anything. Reactions, I would probably say about, let's say about 200 maybe, are just the like, not the clapping or whatever. So if you want to stand out, here's another way that you can do it. And here's what I'm talking about with opportunity. This is a client that I worked with on a project, and I saw it come up in my feed that she had changed jobs. So instead of just, hey, congrats, and putting it on the public and just, moving on, I looked at who she joined, very different than her previous job. And I said, congrats on your role at, and I mentioned the acronym of the company. And then I mentioned something about, the work is inspiring. And then a very soft, should you need any support or assistance, I'm just a message away. Okay, because we had a good rapport when we worked together. Well, look at the timing. Within an hour, she responds back. And here's what's really interesting. She says, there is definitely some opportunity for us to work together in my new role. Wow. Okay. Our mission, and she tells me a little about her mission. And then she says, I'm still settling in. Give me some space. Let's stay in touch, and I'll let you know. Okay, so this is somebody I would definitely flag this as a high value business opportunity. But you can see how instead of just doing the congrats on the public LinkedIn post with the 250 other people did, I took the time to message her directly and got that response. Does that make sense to everybody? You see the difference in doing that? Okay. Now, it helps that you know the person, okay, or at least are familiar with them. Okay, here's another one. The happy birthdays. Every year, what I do is, for privacy and security reasons, I only make my birthday visible a week before my birthday and a week after my birthday, and then it's not visible. Okay, And I get all these birthday greetings like happy birthday, you know, whatever, from people I don't even know who the heck they are. And then I look at the history, and every year they send me the happy birthday. It's like, this gentleman stood out. And it stood out for a couple of reasons. Does anyone know why this stands out? I mean, this may be a form email that he's using, but he personalized it to me. And this part here, and Sunday, my birthday was on a Sunday. So, wow, he actually noticed what day it was. And then he gives me a compliment and tells me that he appreciates what I do on LinkedIn. It's like, wow, he's paying attention. And then he gives a nice sign off and doesn't ask for anything. He's not asking for a call. He's not asking for whatever. But this leaves a really good impression. And it's like, you know, he's a super connector and a master relationship builder. So he's walking his talk. This guy is doing what he says that he does. And I think that there is a way that you can use these signals, you know, the celebrations, the job changes, the promotions, the happy birthdays, as a good opportunity to stay top of mind in a non-obnoxious way. And there's also the profile view notification. You need to have those notifications turned on, and I think the next slide is going to show us how to do that. But what's interesting is on the premium account, and I will tell you this, LinkedIn is moving towards a paid model. So they're taking away a lot of features and visibility on the free platform, and they're moving it into the paid model. I am now a premium business. I was Sales Navigator. I'm now premium business. So that gives me a 90-day look back. If you're on a free account, you're only going to see like who looked at your profile today. Okay. But what's interesting here, they give you some filters based on what they think is interesting. And so when somebody looks at my profile, you know, depending upon who that person is, whether or not they're connected to me, if I know them and recognize like my former neighbor who looked at my profile, I can reach out. If I don't know who they are, but they're fitting the persona that is my my network target, then I may reach out to them and just say, you know, your profile came up, and you know, perhaps we should connect, you know, and see how we can be a resource to one another. But it's really interesting. Now, when you do view someone's profile, typically, if the setting is turned on, they will see that you viewed their profile. So it's important that you make sure that your settings are not in stealth mode unless you are job searching. There is absolutely no reason for people to have someone at XYZ company was like, who is that? Because they didn't change their settings. So it's really important that you look at your settings to make sure your picture is visible and that your who you are is visible, because that's the whole point of networking. So here's an interesting thing that happens because I post content, and I did do for whatever reason, prompted me to look at this person's profile last week. I was trying to figure out something, and I searched for her, and I looked at her profile. She probably got a notification that said, Judy Hayes looked at your profile. Well, this was last time we spoke was back in 2019. She was a client for 2 years. And yesterday, which was yesterday, I get this message from her. And look at this. I remember you always had great insight and expertise when it came to moving our business. Do you still offer those services? This is the second business opportunity that I've shared with you today. This has just happened in like the past week or two. And it's because of, again, planting the seeds. You know, I've laid out that foundation. My LinkedIn experience is the foundation, and I've planted seeds, and I've cultivated and fertilized and pruned the network. So now what's happening is that there's inbound opportunity. So, you know, if you start doing this, it's not going to happen overnight, because again, you have to, just like anything else. If I told you what my garden looked like last year, it was a disaster, but this year it's coming in better. But you know, there are opportunities out there. And so I'm looking forward to talking to her in a week or so. Here's another thing that you can do. This is sort of, if you're job searching, the skills have a score on the back end that recruiters can see. Okay, so that's really what they're doing with skills. But from a business development point of view, what's interesting is you can have up to 100 skills. They could be anything you want. And it's just kind of a nice, gentle tap on the shoulder to somebody. You know, Anton, I don't know you, Anton, but let's say we're connected and I know that you're really, good in marketing strategy or whatever that is. I may go to your profile and take a look at it. So now you're going to get a notification. I looked at your profile. And then I may look at your skills, and you have this one skill. I think, oh, this really aligns with your profile. I'm going to go ahead and endorse you. So then you'll get a notification here that Judy has endorsed you for whatever the skill was. I was doing this with this person because I wanted to show him what the notification would look like. So I don't recommend doing more than 2 endorsements at a time, because it doesn't get you any more credit by doing all 18 at the time. And then, so 3 things can happen. One is nothing. Okay. So I'll get this, say thanks, and I don't do anything. Okay. The second thing that'll happen is I may reciprocate. I may go back to this gentleman's profile, or he may come back to mine and endorse me for a skill. Or the third thing is I may send a direct message to say thanks and just, whatever, say, hi, XYZ. That was so nice of you. You made my day. Thank you so much for doing that. When you click say thanks, LinkedIn is going to give you some generated message. Customize it. So again, this is like a gentle tap on the shoulder. Hi, how you doing? I'm not being obnoxious, and just kind of give you a little bit of a starburst. Has anyone endorsed anyone for skills lately? Have you looked at? Oh, by the way, make sure that your top 3 most important skills are showing on your profile. And then once you get past 99 plus endorsements, reorder them. Because again, as people are using, it's a very powerful database. So if people are searching for something in particular, and you have a high amount of endorsements for particular skills, you will render higher in a search result. So it's just a good thing to know. So there's always it's been a while. And, again, like I said, there's people that I have been connected to for a long time. I know who they are. They know who I am. I just lost touch with them. So I would personalize a direct message. I would first look at the profile, because again, that's going to send a trigger to them. Judy looked at your profile. Okay. Then I'm going to personalize the message because I noticed something on their profile, that they just came back from a conference, the Uplift Live in Birmingham, UK. They were there and it was fabulous. And wow, I'm sorry I missed you there, or I didn't get to see you. That's one way to do it. Would be great to catch up with you sometime. Are you open to that? Yeah, it doesn't feel invasive to me. You're not going to sell me anything, right? If you want to step it up just a notch, you can, on the mobile device, I believe on Android and on the iPhone, you can hold down this little plus sign down there in the messages, and you can record your voice up to 60 seconds. That goes a long way in terms of making it really personal and easy. And then you can really increase the value if you recorded a video message for them. You can use Loom or a couple of other tools and send them. You would say something like, BD, oh my gosh, I'm sorry I missed you. I was in Birmingham. I didn't know that you were located there. Next time we'll have to have coffee or tea or whatever in a video message. And another thing you want to do is you want to keep track of this in your calendar. So I'm going to show you an example in a few minutes on how to set that up in your calendar or whatever your tool is that you use this. But the Been a While has been a powerful way of re-engaging and nurturing what I would say would be the diamonds in the rough in your network. Just people that you didn't know that they had changed jobs. You didn't know that they had moved to a different city. Let's just catch up. So here's, I thought this was pretty interesting. This is an example of a message that I received yesterday, timely. He sent me a birthday, message, pretty cool, okay. And I thanked him. And then I got this today and I thought, well, this is interesting. He's telling me, yeah, it's been a minute since we connected. That was 4 years ago almost. And then he's being very transparent and telling me he's doing something crazy, and he's sending messages to every single one of his connections one at a time to reconnect. Okay. No automation, no virtual assistants. I'm just doing to everyone. And I'm amazed by the great connections this has resulted in. And then he asked me a question. I just thought, you know what? This doesn't feel like he's blasting spam. It feels somewhat personal given his personality and what he does. And I said, yeah. And I responded back and I just said, wow, it's great to hear from you. And things are going well. And I said, by the way, can I use your message in my presentation? And he said, yes. So it is, I think this is an interesting script. You know, I'm not saying, you know, don't plagiarize it, but make it your own. But he's being very transparent here. I'm sending this message to every single connection. And I'm not using automation, which a lot of people do, and don't do that. But I love what he says here, that he's amazed that this has given him these results. And then it's over to me. How are you doing? Would you respond to this? I mean, do you feel this is spammy? If anyone thinks it's spammy, put spam in the comments. Or if you would respond, just say it's good. You know, because I think that we have to kind of break down the barrier, you know, because fear is one of those things. It's like, I don't have time to engage and I'm afraid of what to say. I don't know what they're going to think. So I think that this is a really non-invasive way. It just, I feel the guy gets more credibility from something like this. So one of the things that you can do is when you're traveling, you can go through your network and see who is located in the destination where you're going, so you can reconnect with them in person. So the way you do this is when you're on your home here, you click in this search field box and you just hit a return, and then you click on people, and then you open all filters, and you want to click first degree connections. And then what you want to do is put in the location. So let's say you're going to Austin, Texas. Okay, now there's two of them here. So depending upon what people have on their profile, I would recommend selecting both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the other one, which is there. Okay, and then what I want to do is let me see how big the group is. Okay, so there's 605 people that are in Austin, Texas that I'm connected to. So what I want to do is narrow this down a little bit. So let's say I just want to find the people that have marketing in their title. Okay, so that brings it down to 44. So then what you can do here is you can go through the list and see who it is here that you know, that you've lost touch with, that is somebody that you know well enough that they would take your call or meet with you. And you know, you've got the list to work with, and you would send them a message. And I would definitely look at making it a personalized message as opposed to a you know, a canned message. You can tweak it a little bit. You know, you might want to go through and see, how did you meet these people? Because what happens is a lot of times when you have a message, there's a message history. And so that'll tell you how you know people. And for instance, here, oh, it's AI is telling me something about him. I don't know if we've ever messaged before. Here's another one. Yeah, hi, looks like we have some connections. That was from a while ago, 2017. Here's somebody here. Yep, we haven't messaged in a while. Here's another one. Hi, Kathy. This is from 2011. So this is a long time ago. So, you know, again, take a look at these. You can go ahead and put in some more filters if you want. You can look for current companies. You can look for, like, I want all the people that went to, you know, UT Austin. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so you got 9 results now. So again, you just keep narrowing it down till you get a workable group, and then you reach out to them. So this is actually I'm planning a trip to Austin. So I was looking at who am I connected to that I would like to set up a meeting with. And so that is an easy way to do that within your existing network. And another thing you can do is you can always bookmark the search that you just put in here. So you can have like a folder or however you organize your bookmarks. And then if I want to go back and say, okay, you know, if I'm going to a meeting in Connecticut, I want to say who's in Connecticut or Birmingham, UK. I want to see who's there. But whatever the criteria is, or who works at a certain company. But by looking at your first degree connections and doing it that way, it's a really slick way of finding those people. And the more filters that you designate, the smaller that group becomes. Okay. So, because the 400 or whatever it was, and by the way, this is based on my network. So you're all going to have a different result based on who you're connected to. That makes sense to everybody? Yeah. Okay. All right. So the whole thing, though, is just being superficial and just, oh, like I said, collecting for connecting's sake or whatever, there's no value in that. So how do you lead with value? What does value mean? So let's look at some examples of that. So has anyone heard of the KLT factor? Yes, no? Say yes in the chat if you have. Yes, okay, we got a couple of thumbs up on that. So it takes a long time to really build trust. Out of the gate, people don't necessarily trust you. Maybe they do, but most likely they don't. But when it comes down to making decisions about spending money or doing something, I want to engage with people and work with people and hire people that I know who they are, they're likable, and they have credibility. I trust them. So the know part is really, and let's just use LinkedIn as the example right now. This is your visibility. It's your profile. It's your activity. It's how you're showing up. Okay. They know who you are. They see that name. Oh yeah, I know that person. I may not have met them, but I know of them. Okay. That's the first part of that. It's the easiest one. Then you want to be likable. You want to be likable in a way that you're sharing information or you're engaging in a way that you are interesting. And then from those two, you start to build that credibility, which really is trust. Now, you can break that trust within a minute. It's taken you years to build that trust. One thing can happen and you can break it in a minute. So it's something that it really takes work and a concerted effort. But when you have a very cohesive KLT factor, $ in the middle, that's the business opportunity. Because at the end of the day, we're going to buy and engage with people that we know. I want to know, I need a designer to do something. I'm not going to look, just in a Upwork search or something like that. I'm going to ask some people, hey, who do you know that does this? That's the first one. Who do you know? Do you like working with them? Are they reliable? Boom, I will hire them. Okay, so that's how the KLT factor works. So when you're leading with value, there's a couple of techniques that I've used, and this is like taking it up a notch from the 10 examples I gave you earlier. One of them, and I'm going to go through all these in just a minute. The prospect with interviews is really a great tool because it gets you in conversations. Surveys and polls also get you in conversations. Events are good if you share them, not in a way. I got something a couple of weeks ago, and it was obviously a blast. And the event didn't even have anything to do with what I'm doing. And I was curious, why I got that, but I realized, okay, they're just sending it out to everyone in their network. That doesn't add value. But if it's an event and I say here, Lisa, there's an event happening on healthcare, and I have an extra ticket. Would you be interested in going? Oh, well, Lisa says, wow, because I know that's the type of, I'm making up healthcare, okay? But I know that's the type of work that you're interested in. And I also asked her permission. Would you be interested in going? Instead of sending all this garbage with links and all this stuff, which could be malware. And she could either ignore it. She could say, no, I'm out of town, or no, not interested, but thank you. Or she could say, yeah, I'd love to take you up on that offer. Building credibility. Okay. So, and don't worry about the leaves if people just ignore you or things like that, because those are the leaves in your network. Move on. Now, writing a recommendation is powerful, and it's something that I don't take for granted. So whenever I set a goal that I want to have at least one new recommendation a month. Okay, so you got to plan for it. I want one a month. So what am I going to do to earn that? Well, a lot of times, I'll have consultations with people, and it may just be a complimentary consultation, and they'll send me back a message, and they'll send me like, wow, I really got this, and this out of it. It was wonderful. So what I'll do is I'll write them back and say, I love what you said here. Would you be willing to put this as a testimonial on my LinkedIn profile? Yeah, sure. Now, sometimes they'll never follow through. Sometimes they will. Now, same thing as you could reciprocate. I would be careful of doing a, what is it, quid pro quo thing, where I'll give you a recommendation, you give me a recommendation. Because if you've ever looked on those consumer sites, where you have things rated and they all came in on the same day, those are gamed. They're not real. So when I'm writing a recommendation, it's usually because I have had an experience with somebody, or I've been connected with them for a while. I see the work that they're doing. They're doing amazing work. And I just want to acknowledge that. I want to pay it forward. I want to make their day. And it works out really well. So that's what I consider leading with value, is doing things like this, because I am not being a shady salesperson, like I have an ulterior motive. No, I'm genuinely interested in building value and building that KLT factor. So
Judy,
yes.
sorry, Judy, it's Anne Marie. Before we go to the next slide, Nadine put in the chat, can you talk more about ways to get people to open and take surveys / polls?
Yes, and I actually have a case study I'm going to show you in a little bit. You, first of all, well, I'll come to that in a second, and I'll show you the tactic that I use. Not everybody will do it. It's just, you got to target the right people, and it has to be easy. I got something the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do my survey. And then it's like, I'm a couple minutes into this, and it's like, Jace, I'm not even 10% of the way through this. I'm out of here. So you've got to make it, so it's really consumable, because nobody has time, right? Why should I do that? Okay, so there's a poll that I put out on LinkedIn, 368 responses, and pitch slapping is like one of the things that if you want to just get on my bad side, hit me with a pitch slap. That is like a blatant sale. I'm gonna interrupt your day, and I'm gonna sell whatever I have, because it doesn't mean anything to you and it's irrelevant. How many times does that happen? Well, you know what? 3/4 of people are saying it's anywhere from 1 to 11 times a day they're getting hit with this. Why is this happening? You know why? Because there's these automation tools. I can get you leads, and we're going to scrape data, and we're going to blast everybody. And, so what if we only get a 1% response, Don't use automation. Don't be lured in by that stuff. The key to really building trust in the KLT factor is that you slow down your outreach to speed up your outcome. All right, digest that for a minute. Slow it down, slow down your outreach. Take the time to do your research and be very deliberate, and you will have a much higher return of success on that, as opposed to just taking a bowl of spaghetti that I just made and throwing it up on the wall, and then just a little bit stuck, but at least something stuck. It's just not there. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that one. So here's polls, okay? And this is how I do polls. And I actually have on my YouTube channel, I have a video that gets into really how to make the most of polls. I still love LinkedIn polls. I just think, they are a built-in tool. Now, here's the thing. I'm not looking to get huge numbers of people. I'm looking to get the right people to respond to a poll. So the first thing that I will do with my clients, or we will identify what we call pain points. You all know what pain points are? Yeah, it's those problems, those pesky problems that people are willing to throw money at to get relief. That is a pain point. And by the way, you offer a solution of relief from that pain point, okay? So you're aligning a pain point with the solution that you have. So you're not jumping to the chase, right? You're coming in slowly, okay? You're slowing down your outreach. And I'm talking here, I do a lot of work in supply chain, so this is for transportation VPs and directors. That's who I want to answer this. And this is a one-click poll. Okay, so it's quick and easy, and here's who I want. And the pain point here is my client implements transportation management system software. And so there's been a big talk about a lot of people are just not satisfied with the selection that they have. They're just not. Well, let's take a poll. Let's see what's happening here. So we said, are you highly satisfied? Nah, not satisfied. We don't have a TMS. Whoa. So now we're looking at the amount of people here If they're highly satisfied, I did not put them here in this list, but we targeted the outreach by, if you click that send within the poll, you can then type in a name. And I had already done a filtered search through Sales Navigator, and I found a list of people that we wanted to reach out to. And so I sent a direct message to each of them. And with this, just inviting you, would love your feedback on this one-click poll. And so when they got the message in their inbox, all they had to do was click it, click whatever vote they wanted, and that was it. They're done. Easy, right? And so what we did then is I analyzed who the responses were and put them together here by, meh, not satisfied, don't have a TMS. These are all prospects. These are all people that we want to engage with. So from there, what I did was then I took the data here in this basic format and created a branded graphic, and then shared the branded graphic on LinkedIn, and then also wrote an article about the pain point. Who is happy with their TMS? Okay, and again, the target who we're trying to reach knows what this means, okay? And this is a cornerstone for this particular client. And so then what we did was we went back out to these people coming from one of the partners of the company and said, hey, thanks so much for playing with me on the poll. Would love to share an article we wrote up about the results. Are you interested in it? I can't say that enough, that you've got to ask permission. You don't want to just send things to people unless you know them really well. That would be the exception. But for the most part, these are prospects. And so, again, we could either get no response, because not everyone checks their LinkedIn. We could get, no, I'm not interested. Or we could get, yeah, sure, send it to me. And again, building that little trust bank that we have there. And then also, if there's other people that didn't respond, but they met the criteria that we'd love to share this with them, we can just send them a message and say, hey, we did a survey recently and got some interesting results around the topic. We put together an article. Would you be interested in seeing it? We think it might align with what you're doing in retail or whatever. And then that's a way to start the conversation. So this is the 5-step process to use polls strategically. Does that make sense to everybody? You're going to see like a slew of polls. And by the way, you can do this too within the Forbes platform now, which is fabulous. And so instead of just doing a poll, do a poll with a purpose, and then take the information and put together some good content, because you're all, as members, have the ability to publish articles. Right? So this is not a sales piece. This is a really, why are people not happy with their TMS systems? Here are some of the reasons. And what we did was we went through each group. The MES, well, here's probably why they're saying this. Here's our take on it, and here's what they can do. The ones that don't have a TMS, they're still using spreadsheets to track their transportation, which is a whole nother conversation. But again, you can use this method to really build credibility and great content and value with your network. So who's going to be doing polls today? So here's the thing, and this is why I'm seeing the inbound opportunities coming. So even if just a 5th of the people that you have identified as people that you want to engage with, that not that I can sell to them, they're just people that I know, that I like them and I like what they're doing, and I like to surround myself with successful people. And you can see the shift, and you can see the new opportunities, but you have to plan for it. It's consistency. This just doesn't happen. You don't just wake up and all of a sudden, oh, I got all these inbound things coming in from LinkedIn or whatever. You really have to be strategic. And that's the whole point of this masterclass here, is to get you to think like my dog. He's an adult dog, but I'm teaching him some new tricks, and he's open to it as long as I give him some food. It's always about the treat and the quality of the treat. So he wants high value treats, just like people want high value content. Okay, everyone with me so far? Yeah, okay, a lot of heads shaking. All right, here's what I mentioned earlier, prospect with interviews. So what is prospect with interviews? Well, again, going back to the pain point. One of my clients is a branding agency, and they provide a service. I said, where are you getting the bulk of your business? said, well, brand refresh. You know, people, they haven't updated their logos, their packaging design, their colors, whatever. And it's a good opportunity for him. So I said, okay, so let's talk about this. And I recorded him on a half-hour conversation and then transcribed the call and put together the narrative here of what does a brand refresh mean. And then there were 5 questions in this ebook. And then what we did is we identified certain people, and these would be prospects, could be former clients or prospective clients. And we reached out to them on his behalf and said, you know what, we're putting together this thought leadership piece on brand refresh and would love to get your feedback. Could I set up a 10-minute conversation with you, ask you 2 or 3 questions, and we are going to produce a book that we'll be happy to share with you, an ebook. And so, you know, there's going to be a portion that'll be like, yeah, absolutely. There's going to be another portion that won't even respond to your message. And then there'll be another portion that'll say, I don't know. I don't have the time. I don't know. Okay. So the ones that say yes, go ahead. And we just need like 10 people. Okay. And we put it together. And then what we do is then once we complete the book, we go back out and offer it to them and say, hey, thank you so much for giving your time. We wanted to share the finished product with you. Would you like to receive a copy of the ebook? Again, asking permission. All right. And the people that didn't want to participate but did respond, we'll go back out to them and say, you know, we're sorry that we couldn't connect on this, but we did publish the book and we'd love to share it with you. Are you interested? We think there's some insights there that might be helpful, you know, in your brand journey. Yeah, okay, sure. So that's prospect with interview. And we do these quarterly for this particular client. We have another client that we do a monthly, but we're looking at what are the pain points, what are the hot topics. We get the client perspective, and then we get the experts. We call them experts. And what's nice about this is then all these experts, we give them a worksheet, not a worksheet, but a suggested ways they can use this to promote their company. So now they've got a piece of content they can share, and they're putting it out to their network. We have it and we're posting it, and it becomes a really good added value piece of content. Does this make sense to everybody, the whole process here? Okay. So now,
Judy,
yes.
sorry, it's Anne Marie. I'm just doing a time check. We have 14 minutes left.
Okay, I'm going to start talking fast. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go New York on everybody. All right. All right. So how do you manage all this stuff? Well, let's do, do you want to do the poll or you want to skip it? Well, go ahead, do it. I'm interested in what prompts you to engage with one of your connections. What is the catalyst that gets you to move the needle here? We're going to go quick. Boom. Okay, let me just capture that here real quick. Okay. Post, content, profile. Okay, interesting. So you're not using the job change notification. There's an opportunity there. Okay, so let's look at how to organize this. Like I said earlier, you want to download your data. Okay, here's the link to download your data. LinkedIn is a rented platform. They don't have to give you anything. If they were to shut down or suspend your account, which happens to people, you lose access to what you've put so much time and effort in. So if you haven't done this before, which a majority of you said you haven't, then do the larger data archive and you will be able to, you'll get a zip file. If you do it on a regular basis, I do it monthly. I just do the connections and anything else that has changed, recommendations, things like that. But you should all be owning your data. So, and this is another one. I love this book that's really about, you know, creating value for the other party. So I recommend if you're a reader, get it on Kindle or the library or Amazon or whatever bookstore. But it's a really good book that kind of underscores what I'm talking about here. So when you want to track all this stuff, you can use a spreadsheet. If you're fortunate to have a functional CRM, a good CRM, more power to you. You can manage the inbox on LinkedIn. I'll show you a couple of tips on that. Or you can set up calendar reminders, or you can do all of the above. This is one of the ones that I use when I download my database. This is important here. When I do the recognize, it's like who I recognize. I am aware of them. Some of them are impending. Some of them are, I have no idea who they are. But I track who they are, when we connected, how we met, what their LinkedIn URL is. if they're on a premium account and what their industry is, and they also have their location, but it's a massive database that we use and filter and do for all kinds of prospecting or whatever, interviewing. There's another way you can, Alicia Diamond has put together this worksheet and she's offering it on her website, but it's interesting. She comes up with a score of the contact frequency, like once a month, once a quarter, once a year, and she evaluates them. So this is another way to manage your network. It doesn't happen by osmosis. Like I said, it's going to take some work to do this, but you will see the results. And go to your notifications and make sure, because every time LinkedIn does a upgrade on the platform, these notifications seem to default to things that aren't necessarily what you want. So make sure that you're getting the notifications for whatever it is here that you want, whether you want it in email or in the app itself. And that's the link to go find it. And then this is what I feel like with my inbox. It's like, it's killing me. It's just too much, overwhelming. Most people will say that about the LinkedIn inbox. So what do? Well, they have some ways that you can mark messages. When you archive a message, it gets out of your inbox, but whenever the conversation is reactivated, it becomes active again. I rarely delete conversations because, again, like if I haven't engaged in 12 years and then we re-engage, I will lose that conversation if I delete them. Star is one that I use a lot if it's something that's hot and I'm having a conversation and I want to keep it top of mind. Also, unread, because sometimes I will go through here and I'll say, okay, I just want to look at the unread messages or the starred messages or just people I'm connected to. And then the folders, and this mirrors with the Microsoft Outlook with focused and other. Doesn't make sense to me, but other and spam are kind of the same to me. But that's just a way of using the built-in tool. I do set up something on my calendar. Here's an example. I put in the different profiles of who I want to engage with. And for me, I'll do it every 2 weeks. And when this comes up, I'll look at the profile. I'll see what they're doing, send them a short message, just in some way to stay top of mind. And I use Google Calendar. You can use whatever calendar you have. But if you don't schedule it, I guarantee it won't happen. Okay? So you can do it once a month, once a quarter, whatever you want to do, but do be deliberate. And then, of course, value-driven networking is what we're doing here, a little value-driven networking. It's really, just because you think something's valuable, you might not think it's valuable, right? Or I might not think it's valuable. So it's really important, to understand what's important to people. And that's why when I'm writing LinkedIn profiles, I will take that about section and make it about the person reading it, because then they will find it to be valuable because I'm talking to them, not about me. So that's kind of a way of reframing things. And then when you're talking about value-driven networking, here are some things you can do. And I'm going to give you some examples. I'm not going to read this. I'm going to show you the examples. So one of them here, this is, it's actually a Forbes member that I made an introduction. Somebody reached out to me. They were looking for something. And I felt that I didn't have the expertise that he was looking for, but I knew someone that had it. And I made the introduction and they have taken it from there. And this is what a warm introduction is. I love making introductions. I think introductions are so, because then this person doesn't have to sell herself to this person because I've already given the endorsement by making the referral. And this is a pay it forward way of engaging with your network. Another thing here is I had someone come to me and said, hey, I'm looking for a speaker for this event. I want someone that really knows LinkedIn and sales from that perspective. Well, one of my colleagues, I said, great, made the connection. Value added, bringing people together. And it goes a long way. And then here's one, I just love this. This book, The Go-Giver, I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. The designer that I mentioned to you, that I referred to my client hired him for this project. And I got this package in the mail from the designer. And I'm like, whoa. And he sent me the Go-Giver book, chocolates, a coffee mug, and a Starbucks card, and a beautiful note. And the funny thing is, I'd been quoting Bob Burg's book for a long time about the go-giver mentality and really approaching business that way. Bob Burg, who's an amazing, well-known, keynote Hall of Fame guy, actually responded to the comments on this post back and forth. So I wasn't connected with him. We were second-degree connections. And I was like, wow, this blew me away. So I waited couple of weeks, about 2 weeks. And then I reached out to him and I just thanked him. And, I let him know that the book inspired me. That's my invitation to connect. And look at this, 5:56, he must have been like on his computer, boom, and he writes this back. And I'm like, wow, so now we're connected. Great guy, highly recommend the book. But that's, to me, that is really the seeds of building relationships and rapport. And then here's the thing is that it's true. 35%, a third of casual conversations can lead to new opportunities, whatever that opportunity might be. It might be inviting you to be a speaker. It might be, recommending something, whatever it is. A third, when you make the effort to do the casual conversation, it will lead to something. Here's one where I was listening to this guy's podcast. He's got a great podcast. It's called Do This, Don't Do That Marketing Tips. Jay Schwedelson. Okay. And I just had to let him know. I just absolutely love his podcast. And he said, thanks so much. And then I said, thanks. And then I sent him an audio message. And he was just, wow. And look at what he says here. I know my team could be getting so much more at how we're using Sales Navigator. Well, that's what I offer training in, is Sales Navigator. So there's a signal. There's another opportunity. He followed up and said, hey, we got to get you some swag. What's your address? And he sent me this really cool hoodie, and it's just really, really nice. So anyway, but that is building rapport. That is building credibility. And I still love his podcast. And here's another one, staying top of mind. This is back in 2019. You can see it went into 2023. There was a gap there. But my client has a really good way of saying, hey, it's been a while. Thought I'd check back. How are things going? Business is growing here. Let me know if you'd like to set up a time to catch up. Okay. Well, it comes up back, what is this, 4 years later? I hope you're doing well. Looks like your consulting's expanded. I noticed you had a routing scheduling article published, high value content, and I'm at company, and we run a courier service between warehouse clinics and hospitals. We're looking for a routing solution. Here's my email. Here's my mobile. This engagement resulted in a five-figure, this interaction resulted in a five-figure project. With this client. Okay. Opportunities come in. You see a gentle, not a rush to the chase, but really just staying in touch. So when their problem is such that they need relief, then and your solution aligns, they will reach out to you. Here's one. Now I know this person well, so that's why I sent her the link. But every time I see something on data centers, because she designs data centers, I send it to her. And she appreciates it, and it's just a nice way of, this is my Long Island Railroad method of clipping articles and sending it to people. This is the modern day version of that. We can skip this. Let me skip this one so we can finish up. But I will tell you this is what not to do. This is the stuff that makes my blood boil, because this is totally irrelevant. Quick favor. Whatever she's asking for is nothing that I'm involved in. Here's something trying to sell me leads, which is like, have you even looked at my profile? I wound up disconnecting from that member, as you can see. And then here's one introducing and something here that it just is not relevant to me. So this is what not to do. Do not mass spam people with whatever it is. Or use automation to send out stuff like this, because this is just spam. That's all it is. And here's the thing, like I said before, they have a problem, you have a solution, boom. If you offer value, you're not going to lead with your solution. You're going to lead them to it. Big difference. You're going to lead them to it. You're going to empathize and understand the struggles that they're going through, and you're going to offer a better desired end state. So Hidden Gems newsletters are fantastic on LinkedIn. It's a great way to stay in touch. People get notifications in their feed. Google indexes it, so when someone's searching, it comes up. It stays with your profile. Subscribers get a real email message to their email with your latest LinkedIn edition. And when you launch it, it goes to your entire network. So I love LinkedIn newsletters. They're kind of like polls. And then it pays off. And it's true, because when you're engaged, you're going to get 5 times more visits to your profile. People are going to look at you. And this is what engagement looks like. It's sharing insights, it's being thoughtful, it's asking questions, it's reacting, and it's messaging. This is engagement. And the thing about networking is, you know, it's not one and done, did that, check it off, okay, we're done. No, it's long and it takes effort. It's like that garden. Like I said, last year it was not good. This year we have an edible garden. It's coming in really nicely. So if you don't mind in the chat, if there's one thing you learned today, please put it in the chat. I would love to know one thing that you will implement as a result of today's training. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your time. And feel free to go back and look at the replay, reach out to me on LinkedIn. By the way, if you do connect with me on LinkedIn, make sure you say you attended this training, okay? And I want to say thank you. Always be gracious and connect with me. That's my profile. I have a book. Everyone's got a book. I got a book. I got a worksheet on my website. And then if you want an expert to help you, we can talk. So that is my story. Thank you, everyone. How did I do, Emery? What time is it? Whoa, 1:59. Yes, we did it. Thank you all for being a participant here. And let me, I'm going to stop the share. There we go. Okay, everyone. So, look at this. Okay, cool. I'm going to save the chat because I want to save all that. Do you all know how to save the chat? There's like those three dots in your meeting chat up at the top right corner. If you click on the three dots, you'll be able to save the chat. So, so thank you all for being here. If there's any topics that you would like more information about or things that are perplexing you about LinkedIn, get in the conversation in our group, Leveraging LinkedIn. We have a blast in there. It's really a lot of fun. So, all right. So how do we do, guys? Guys, gals, everyone? Good. All right. All right, cool. I appreciate you all being here and see you on the other side. Thank you. All right. I think, did we lose our moderator? Emery, you're still there, right? Yeah. Did I answer everybody's question? Did anyone have a question, a burning question here that needs to be addressed? Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, re-engagement is important. Yep. Being consistent, 20%. Yes, we have our next presentation for the LinkedIn group is coming up at the end of the summer. Can you believe we're already like June is tomorrow or the next week? So August 20th will be our next Leveraging LinkedIn. And I look forward to that. And then, oh, what CRM do I use? That's a funny question. I like HubSpot. I like the free HubSpot version. But I'm just not great with CRMs. I just, it's something I need to get better at. If anyone has a platform that they use that they find, you know, for solo business owners, please do share it. But HubSpot is a pretty good one. And I think that's it. What feature on the Forbes? Where is the feature? Oh, for the polls, I think it's when you go to post something. So you have to post a comment and then from there it'll ask you what type of post you want. So, okay. All right. So I think we are, oh, somebody, BD Dalton, if you're still on the call, you said your polls don't get any response. Maybe you're not asking the right question. So maybe you got to think about the question that you're asking and tailor it that way. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, everybody.